at least one Ukrainian source is telling us that the Russians made unreasonable demands, essentially asking for 4 oblasts, in other words, provinces or states, if you like, inside Ukraine. In other words, asking for land diplomatically that they've been unable to achieve through the barrel of a gun.
The meeting lasted just under 2 hours. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 39 points, the S&P is up 4 points. And coming up, cloudy skies and highs in the 60s. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time 9:01.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
Paris RV is your toy hauler headquarters. We've loaded up the inventory and have over 300 new and used toy haulers in stock. And we've priced them at the lowest prices of the year. Not sure what you're looking for? No problem. Paris RV has 20 toy hauler brands to choose from, including bumper pool, fifth wheel, and travel trailers. We'll help you find exactly what you're looking for. Come in and take advantage of these amazing toy hauler deals. Stop by any of our 4 locations or shop online at parisrv.com.
It's Toy Hauler Month at Paris RV.
Paris RV is your locally owned, family-run RV dealership. We strive hard to find the very best RVs for the price. With 4 locations, over 1,000 RVs in stock, 42 service bays, and 4 super parts stores. We're sure to help take your family on the best RV vacation. Check out our perfect family bunkhouse trailer, the 26BH, that sleeps 9 for $19,995 or $227 a month, zero down. Life is short. Enjoy it. North Murray, South Murray, Payson, and Pocatello. ParisRV.com.
Getting help with plumbing repairs is easier than you think. All you have to do is call Any Hour Services or schedule an appointment at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Attention! If you owe money to the IRS, this is an urgent message. The IRS is cracking down by sending out collection letters, garnishing paychecks, seizing bank accounts, and putting liens on homes and businesses. They call it enforced compliance, and you better watch out because penalties and interest on unpaid taxes compound daily, making it even harder to get out of debt. Don't let tax debt destroy your life. You need to call Optima Tax Relief, America's #1 tax resolution firm. They're experts in taxpayer assistance programs that can save you thousands if you qualify. A+ rated by the Better Business Bureau, Optima's resolved over $1 billion of tax debt for their clients. Let them fight on your behalf, helping to put your tax problems to rest. Call the tax professionals at Optima now for a free consultation.
Call 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055. 800-783-8055.
Optima Tax Relief.
Some restrictions apply. For complete details, please visit OptimaTaxRelief.com.
Emergency traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Alessandra Gurr.
We've got pretty much stopped traffic on southbound I-15 from about 24th Street to just after 5600 South in Roy, where there's just one left lane open due to a sinkhole. We're hearing reports that it's taking people about an hour to go those 4 miles. The crash on eastbound I-80 near Bangor Interchange has been cleared with no more officers on the right shoulder. The rest of the roads are in good shape. The secret to healthy, thriving plants is great soil. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost is a game changer for your veggie garden, flowers beds, and trees. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost at oakdale.com. I'm Alessandra Gurr in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high of 67 today with cloudy skies, thunderstorms expected tomorrow and Sunday with a little bit of rain heading into Monday. Right now it is 54 and cloudy. I'm Claire Scott from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Hey, look, if Walmart, the low-cost giant, is saying they're going to have to raise prices, and soon, because of tariffs, I just wondered what in the world this means for the rest of the stores we shop at. And above all, what does this mean for our family budgets? So let's get into it.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Well, I heard Andy Farnsworth talking about this morning on Utah's Morning News, and I'm like, I'm all over this. I'm a Walmart shopper. I'm also a Target shopper. I'm also a Smith's shopper. I'll shop anywhere that has the best price. But when I heard this Walmart announcement yesterday, I thought, I thought the reduced tariffs down to 30% on China would fix this. Remember, just earlier this week, we were talking about how the Trump administration made that decision to reduce the tariffs on China from 145% to 30%. And personally, I was like, whew, I think I might be in the clear with my family budget. But yesterday during an earnings call, Walmart's CEO said, we are going to have to raise prices. And I think it's coming pretty quickly. And they seem to be pinning this price hike announcement on tariffs. And just reading up on this and trying to get a better idea about it, I was like, well, why? Because I just thought with this situation with China, things might be ironed out in 90 days because this tariff pause is going to go on for 90 days and maybe the two sides would get together and negotiate something. But CNBC is reporting that about a third of what Walmart sells is made in the U.S. But it just so sharply relies on goods brought in from a lot of other countries, especially China. I don't think that's a secret. But they've also got Mexico in that mix, Vietnam, India, Canada. Think about the tariffs on Canada. So I want to know what this means as the tariff dominoes start falling. Because I don't think we're out of the woods yet, even though I thought we might be out of the woods earlier this week when that big announcement was made. So first up this morning, Robert Spenlove, senior economist with Zions Bank. You have been a champ for us on this show because I don't know how the economy works in a lot of ways, Robert. I just know what I end up spending at the grocery store. And I don't like the idea that I might be facing, a higher grocery bill in the very near future when the low-cost giant comes out and says tariffs are going to drive us to do that and do that very soon, and that is to raise prices. So I guess it's still pretty much a mystery about how much more customers will have to pay at the check stand at this point, right, Robert?
And the reason why it matters so much what Walmart is doing, Walmart is the largest retailer in the world. They're one of the largest employers in the world. They really drive a lot of the retail market. And so everyone's been watching to see how Walmart reacts, to see how they adjust as well. And I'll tell you, Walmart has been pushing back, for the past several months. They've been trying to push back on these price increases, trying to renegotiate their supplies, their supply chains. And now they're saying, listen, folks, we can't hold off. We're going to have to reflect the tariffs through price increases.
Do you have any insights from what you've been looking at what aisles we might see price hikes at? Because I really wasn't able to get a firm grip on what that means for the family budget.
Yep, and they did address this. They said, we're going to push back really hard on increasing food prices. But, just think about different parts of Walmart.
Yeah.
Right? You've got the food, you've got electronics, you've got home and garden.
Tires.
You've got clothing, tires, right?
Yeah.
And so just think about where that individual item comes from, and that's where you're going to see the impact. So if you turn over that item and it says made in China, you're going to see bigger price increases. If it's apples from Washington State, it's going to be smaller. But if it's bananas, it's going to be a lot bigger. And so that's why they're not giving specific guidance, but they're saying, folks, it's going to happen.
Well, I walked into the Walmart by my house out in South Jordan earlier this week, and I was shocked that avocado prices were super reasonable. I think I paid $3 for a batch of 5 avocados. It might have been like $3.57. But my thought was, where are the tariffs? Because I think we get a lot of our avocados in this country from Mexico. So I was pleasantly surprised in the other direction. And that's why I think this whole situation is a little bit like looking at a bowl of spaghetti for me. I'm like, is it the tariffs? Is it a supply chain issue? Or is there a drought in some country where coffee beans aren't growing as quickly? So now we have increased prices on coffee beans and even instant coffee. So I am as an everyday consumer, when I'm trying to analyze it at the grocery store, I mean, at the end of the day, you got to buy stuff to eat. I'm like, why does this feel like a bowl of spaghetti for me?
Yeah, and that's where it gets really complex. So let me just kind of boil it down. A tariff is a tax. So what we've seen is that the United States has said they're increasing the tax on imports. Now, the question is, who pays the tax? The tax is actually imposed on the importer. So when they bring a product into America, that's where they impose the tax. But the question is, can the importer push that down the supply chain to the consumer, or do they push it up the supply chain to the producer? And that's really the question: is who will pay that increase? There is definitely an economic impact. It's just we don't know exactly where that impact will lie. And so that's why you see kind of a different response. And a lot of it depends on the consumer. Is the consumer willing to pay higher prices? And if consumers are willing to pay higher prices, then you'll see higher price increases. So we call that the substitution effect. If you can substitute one item for another, then you're not going to be willing to pay as big prices. But those tires on your car, you just have to accept it.
Yeah, I can see that. And this goes to I walked down the butter aisle not too long ago when I saw the price of butter. I'm like, what? Is there gold in that butter? It was so expensive. So I stopped, my cart in the middle of the dairy aisle, and I start Googling what's a cheap substitution for butter. And so I thought, you know what? I'm gonna put sour cream in that recipe. Maybe I can use applesauce, but I have like a family member who might be allergic to applesauce. I'm like, oh, I can't do applesauce. So I went with sour cream. I mean, I guess I engaged in the substitution effect.
Yes, that's exactly what you're doing. And by the way, butter is also a substitute for avocados. So as people see that those prices of avocados potentially going up, you're moving over to that substitute. So you're seeing the price increase in butter.
One last question before we let you go on this Friday, Robert. Robert Spenlove with Zions Bank jumping into the conversation bright and early this morning because, I think we all have heard the news by now that Walmart has said because of these tariffs, they're going to have to raise prices, and it seems like it's going to be happening soon. So what if these two sides get together, China and the U.S., and these 30% tariffs go away in the next, before the 90-day threshold expires, Robert? What does Walmart do in your view with that?
Yeah, and so that's the debate about whether this will be a price shock or whether it will cause inflation, and we just don't know. So, if they do have a resolution, then you could just see this one-time price shock, and you won't see a kind of durable impact. But if they're not able to renegotiate, or if they go even higher, then that could cause higher inflation moving forward. And then, that's a more serious problem.
Robert, thank you so much. Fun to talk to you. Always appreciate your insights. That's Robert Spenlove, senior economist with Zions Bank, on what's going on at Walmart. Heather Kelly, live in the traffic center right now for us with emergency traffic. We have a sinkhole up north, Heather?
Yeah, this is southbound I-15 right past the 5600 South exit ramp. 2 right lanes are blocked right now. And this happened about 7:30-ish, 7:45 this morning. So they've blocked off 2 right lanes of the freeway, and traffic is backed up about 4 miles. But it's taking people like an hour to get through that 4 miles of freeway.
So, Heather, tell me where that is again.
So, southbound I-15 at 5600 South in Roy. The 2 right lanes are blocked. You definitely want to avoid I-15. But we have been watching the construction crews try to open up the road there to see the structural issues going on. And then they've already dumped some sand that's ready for when they want to fill that hole back up.
So we've got the sinkhole up in that area right now, and you're telling people just avoid I-15.
Oh, yeah, totally. Do not get on I-15 if you're coming out of Marriott, Slaterville, Ogden, or anywhere north of that trying to get toward Davis County.
Heather, as always, you are the best. Please remember, interrupt us at any time to bring us updates on emergency traffic, particularly in that area. So stay with us, folks.
Dave and Dujanovic, special coverage of the top national story.
Heather's got the eye on traffic, and we've got our eye on the economy and what these tariffs, inflation, and all the other stuff like supply chain shortages mean to your pocketbooks. We just hung up the phone with Robert Spenlove, senior economist with Zions Bank, talking about Walmart announcing that it is going to have to raise prices because of tariffs. But I'm also now turning my attention to this bank rate survey that we caught wind of yesterday, and it is a phenomenal breakdown of price increases. And also, there's a list of price decreases as well that have happened since the pandemic. But let me just rattle off some of these because I think we're all feeling this in the grocery store, and also pitch for your phone calls as well. 801-575-TALK. We're going to take your live calls in just a few minutes after we speak live with a bank rate analyst about these different price increases and price decreases that I think we're all experiencing. What price increases have you spotted? What items are more expensive? And you're like, what? Like I was when I looked in the butter aisle. I'm like, what is going on with butter? 801-575-TALK. And I'll tell you what, you get to the front of the line if you can call me with one price decrease that you've seen. Because I want to know what store, what item, and when I need to be there after the show. 801-575-TALK. Caitlin's in the control room, ready to take your calls, put you through to studio. Look forward to talking to you about price decreases, maybe, or price increases that have kind of caught you off guard. The one thing that stood out to me on this bank rate survey about price increases from April of last year to April of this year is eggs are still up 49%. And why I was so surprised by that is because everybody around me is telling me, oh, egg prices are going down. Yes, they are. But they shot up so high, in large part because of the bird flu, that any little bit feels like a win, but they're still up 49%. If you're an instant coffee drinker, what? Okay, all right, we forgive you. Instant coffee, up 13.5%. If you are a roasted coffee lover, it's up 9%. So Sarah Foster with Bankrate, this explains why when I am walking down the aisle at the grocery store the other day, and I was at one of the local grocery stores, the smaller grocery stores not far from my house, I usually find a really good deal on coffee beans at the store. And I was like, what is going on? Are those like laced with gold, like the butter that I saw at the other store I was at? So walk us through some of these price increases that we're experiencing, not only at the grocery store, but beyond. What this survey you guys put out is lengthy. I mean, you go from college textbooks increasing 10% to ground beef going up 10%. What stood out to you?
You're right. First of all, it's great to be here, and I think seeing those coffee prices was pretty eye-opening for me, especially thinking about something as simple as coffee is kind of a luxury. That definitely impacted me recently. But, I think what we see time and time again is that the reasons why these inflation outbursts, like what happened post-pandemic, are so damaging to Americans' wallets is because if it goes on for long enough and if prices continue to increase, that volatility that we rarely see in services, sometimes you'll start to see goods prices come down, which includes food and energy, but never really as much as they actually surged. And so I think even though you can see some volatility from month to month, and maybe sometime you'll walk down the aisle and see that some items are a little bit cheaper today than they were last week, if you were to zoom out all the way back to the pandemic and look at prices as a whole, you'd still find that most of them are actually more expensive today than pre-pandemic. And it's actually just electronics that are cheaper today than they were. And I think putting it in perspective, prices have increased about 23.6% since February 2020, which means if you were buying $1,000 worth of goods and services today, you're spending $1,236.
Yeah.
So that compounds over time.
Well, it explains why then if certain items have gone down in price, like televisions, why I see what I think are like bargain basement prices on televisions. But I'm not in the market every day for a TV, thank goodness. But, look at motor vehicle insurance. I pay that on a monthly basis now, and that's up 55%. So our car insurance has gone up since the pandemic incredibly. I keep harping on margarine. Sorry, it's been 60% increase since the pandemic. And then let's go back to eggs. your survey shows it's been 115% increase since the pandemic. So, Sarah, what's Bankrate's best tip? Like, what's the one best tip for us to help us save our wallets on this?
Yeah, well, it requires kind of some meticulousness, I think. What I often recommend Americans do is manage their finances down to the dollar, down to the cent. Think about it, kind of compare what you're spending today with what you were spending before on all of the different items that you purchase. You might find that you have maybe experienced an even higher inflation rate than what some of these numbers are indicating, because this is just the average nationally. So I think, just going really closely through your budget and finding if there's any ways that you can cut back, and one of the reasons why I think it's important to really look through lists like this is to see if there's any substitutions. And I think we kind of underestimate the intelligence of the consumer and how every day they're making little substitutions for accounting for things that are a little bit cheaper that they might see when they're shopping at the grocery store. Take advantage of that, and maybe even also remember that some of these stores that you visit, especially if you're in the hunt for apparel or other kinds of, goods prices like that, you can also take advantage of price matching. So if you see something cheaper somewhere else, or even if you see it cheaper on the online store than in person, even if it's a few dollars off, that can make a big difference.
Yeah, I'll definitely keep my cell phone handy with the price match option screenshotted so I can put it in the cashier's face and ask them, hey, can you cut me a deal here with this price match? Sarah, have a great weekend. Always appreciate you and our friends at Bankrate for jumping into this conversation. Matthew, in Utah County, what have you seen gone up or down in price? If you can tell me like one thing that's gone down in price, I'm going to give you a virtual high five. What do you know?
I wish I could.
I know.
But for family movie night, we like to put caramel M&Ms in our popcorn. Makes it nice and soft. So the price of that has unfortunately gone up.
How much? Do you know?
The last bag I saw was about $8.30-ish.
Oh, wow. Is this like the shareable bag of M&Ms, not the massive bag of M&Ms that you can like eat on for 2 months?
I feel like there's three sizes, that massive bag and then like the family shareable bag and then like the personal size. But also in my opinion, every size is a personal size if you try hard enough.
That's why I can't buy them, quite frankly. Especially, I have put off buying a brand new massive bag of Hershey Kisses because I know if I put them out on my coffee table, they'll all be gone in a day. I mean, literally, I know exactly what you mean. Hey, what about prices that have gone down? Sarah Foster pointed out that television prices have gone down since the pandemic. They've gone down 30%. I was pretty impressed with that. But I also am not in the market for a TV on a regular basis. I'm in the market for eggs, butter, flour, produce, smartphones. It says since the pandemic, smartphones have gone down some 60%. They say also, again, not in the market for smartphones every day, unless, of course, I drop it. Dishes and flatware down 12%. I find myself in the market for dishes a lot, and I don't know why. Probably because I chip them in the dishwasher. But I have noticed that dishes are a lot less expensive. Straight ahead, I'm super excited to have KSL Television's Matt Gephardt joining me for a conversation I think we can't have this conversation enough, because I got a text message yesterday from the Department of Motor Vehicles, and in parentheses, it said DMV, that a toll payment for my Easy Pass lane had to be settled by today, or my driving privileges will be suspended. Guess what that is? KSL Television's investigative reporter Matt Gephardt and I will talk about why scammers are getting so good at making it seem like Big Brother is out to collect from us.
The news of the day lands harder when it affects you.
I really want our stories to focus more on the human element. focus on how it's affecting the mom and her children. I want us to go more in depth and really take a look at what is at the heart of the story and how does it affect your pocketbook, or how does it affect your lifestyle. My name is Maria Chaleos. I invite you to join us from noon to 3 for Midday right here on KSL News Radio.
It's always so much fun for me to talk about NPS, where you always, each and every day at each of their stores, you save 20 to 70% off retail. And then in each one of the locations, you'll find values above and beyond that. Dee and I were there the other day. We love to do this with our grandkids. We pick them up from school and we go to NPS. And there are so many fun things that are so affordable that they just love to have, and treats and goodies and toys. But you'll notice the 50% off tags that are here and there, even higher, 70% off, and that's on top of the savings that you're already enjoying at NPS. And somebody was wearing a shirt there the other day that said, "I love to treasure hunt at NPS." Well, I do too. They have 4 locations: the Salt Lake store, the Anchor store at 1600 South Empire, the industrial location right across the street, Layton and Orem, and don't forget to shop for things for the garden at NPS.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors. And let's face it, it's time to update the look of your home's exterior. When was that thing built? In the 50s, 70s, 90s, the 2000s? Well, it's looking like it. Faded siding, drafty windows, leaky gutters. It's time to take action now. RGS Exteriors has been taking Utah homes from drab to fab for over 5 generations. We only use the highest quality materials, like James Hardy siding and gutter topper gutter covers. You will be blown away by how much different and better and awesome your house can look. Your neighbors will be jealous, your home value will go up, and most of all, you're going to love it. Everything we do comes with our industry-leading 10-year everything guarantee, so you can sleep like a baby, knowing if anything goes wrong, you're 100% covered. For a free estimate on your gutters, windows, siding, or anything on your outside of your home, call RGS Exteriors at 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's rgsutah.com.
This is the story of the one. As a lineman, he does whatever it takes to keep the power on in his community. And he wants a partner like Grainger who does the same. Grainger offers the professional-grade products he needs, from voltage detectors to harnesses to hard hats, plus fast, dependable delivery, so he can rise to every challenge. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Ready to order?
Yes. We're earning unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with a Capital One Saver card, so let's just get one of everything.
Everything?
Fire everything. The Capital One Saver card is at table 27, and they're earning unlimited 3% cash back.
Yes, Chef! This is so nice.
Had a feeling you'd want 3% cash back on dessert.
Ooh, tiramisu.
Earn unlimited 3% cash back on dining and entertainment with the Capital One Saver card. Capital One, what's in your wallet?
Terms apply. See CapitalOne.com for details.
Troy, can you believe Memorial Day is almost here?
Pretty exciting.
Pretty exciting?
Yeah.
That's all you got for the official start to camping season and our entire reason for living?
I am excited, yes. What do you want from me?
Get pumped, man. It's camping Christmas. Kind of a big deal.
Oh, it's a huge flippin' deal. That's why Bish's is already celebrating Memorial Day with big deals on all RVs. We're selling travel trailers starting under $139 per month on approved credit.
And don't forget, no tariff fees on new in-stock RVs.
Plus 90 days of all play and no pay OAC.
And clearance pricing on all remaining 2024s while they last.
We're even delivering select RVs same day so you can camp right away.
Same day camping? That is a big flippin' deal.
Told you, camping season is a big deal. So come get the real big deals during the Memorial Day sales event happening right now at Bish's RV of Salt Lake and American Fork, where memories begin.
Based on approved credit, 20% down, 8.99% APR for 180 months. Stock numbers 90452-81733. Subject to prior sale. See dealer for details.
Giving the gift of time during the holidays is a hallmark of the season, but the need for kind hearts and an extra pair of hands is here all year long. You Serve Utah is encouraging Utahns across the state to pledge now to serve those in need in the coming year. You and your family will help spread the holiday spirit long after the holidays have passed. When will you pledge? To sign up, visit www.userve.utah.gov.
9:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Kelly. KSL's top local story this hour. A new state jobs report is out, and Utah added 36,000 new jobs in April compared to a year ago.
Health and education sector, we had about 14,400 new jobs there, and then followed by construction with about 7,200 jobs, and then manufacturing increased by about 3,600 jobs.
Department of Workforce Services spokesperson Jared Mendenhall says there was a slight bump in February and March from DOGE cuts, but we have since returned to the normal levels. The state unemployment rate currently sits at 3.1%. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. President Trump is announcing a nuclear deal between the U.S. and Iran.
President Trump Friday confirmed that Iran does have a proposal on a nuclear deal from the U.S., but he didn't share any details. The president spoke to reporters on Air Force One.
They know they have to move quickly, or something bad's going to happen.
The fourth round of nuclear talks between the U.S. and Iran took place on Sunday in Oman. On Tuesday, President Trump said he'd offered an olive branch to Iran, but didn't elaborate. Thursday, he said he thinks the U.S. and Iran are, quote, getting close. Karen Travers, ABC News, Abu Dhabi.
Your money at this moment, all the markets are in the black, with the Dow up 41 points and the NASDAQ has gained 13. Coming up, temperatures are on a roller coaster. The KSL emergency traffic is next. KSL News Time, 9:31.
A reminder about the simplest way to get updated for your day.
Hit your KSL preset when you jump in the car, and we'll take care of the rest.
Hear key news updates and traffic reports.
Andy and Amanda from 5 to 9 in your car.
KSL News Radio at 102.7 FM.
Mom and Dad used to argue about everything, especially about Dad's drinking. It drove me crazy. It got so bad, I couldn't do my homework. I couldn't concentrate. I absolutely refused to let any of my friends come to our house for any reason. I would have been humiliated if anyone found out how much my dad drank and how loud my mom screamed at him. My family went from totally crazy to quiet, calm, and even peaceful. The only thing that happened is my mom started going to Al-Anon family groups. Her relationship with my dad really changed. I asked Mom if she would take me to her Al-Anon meetings or to Alateen. I wanted to see if I could have a better relationship with my dad. I'm sure glad I did. If someone's drinking troubling you, you might be surprised at what you can learn in an Al-Anon or Alateen family group from people just like you. Call 1-888-4-ALANON or go to alanon.org.
Emergency traffic and weather brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Alessandra Gurr.
There's a wall of cars on southbound I-15 for about 3 miles from 31st Street in Ogden, stretching to 5600 South in Roy, where a sinkhole has blocked all but one left lane. It's taking about 40 minutes for cars to travel through that stretch this morning. Use an alternate route into Davis County, but be aware there are some slowdowns starting on southbound US 89, approaching I-84 due to cars taking that route as their alternative. Break your routine and into adventure in Cedar City, Bryan Head. Connected to nature, Cedar City makes spring the best break ever. Shopping, dining, and recreation galore. Break up your adventure. Visit cedarcity.com. Alessandra Gurr in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 68 degrees. We'll hit 75 tomorrow before a storm moves in, bringing rain and colder temperatures for Sunday and Monday. Right now, it's 55 degrees and overcast. I'm Heather Kelly from the KSL Common Spirits Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio.
Look, I got this craziest text message yesterday as I was texting KSL 5 Television's Matt Gephardt to join the show today to talk about texting scams. And the text message that I got said, is from the Department of Motor Vehicles, and in parentheses, DMV. I'm like, and that my toll payment for the Easy Pass lane, I'm like, what is that? Must be settled by today, or my driving privileges will be suspended. And I'm like, great, send me a car every day. I don't care. Obviously, it's a scam. And KSL 5 investigative reporter Matt Gephardt is going to join us in just a moment to talk about why scammers need to get so good at making these text messages that drop in at random seem like Big Brother is out to get us. He's going to take us inside the minds of these scams and how they operate. But I caught Matt's story on this on KSL5TV.com. So let's listen to a bit of that first, and then we'll get Matt to join the show.
KSL viewer Shannon sent me this screenshot. It is a text message saying that she owes a fine to the Utah Department of Transportation. And look at that URL. Shannon writes, Utah.gov looks official. It makes me anxious to get these texts. To read they're coming from my state is scary.
What it appears on the text may not actually be where you're actually sending it.
I took Shannon's text to Special Agent Juan Garcia with the FBI. First of all, yes, Shannon, this is definitely a phishing scam. Once you click the link, a fake website made to look like it's UDOT will ask you to log in or pay a toll.
It seems like they're using the actual website of the actual legitimate organization or company, and yet somehow phishing.
Okay, Matt. How do they make it look like it is actually coming from UDOT? Because I think so often when we look at these websites, we recognize like ORG means a government organization.
Well, yeah, well, an ORG typically means a nonprofit or a charity, right?
That's true.
.gov.
GOV, you're right.
GOV
Yeah.
would be your government
for sure.
organization. And the answer to that question is what they're doing is they're saying, Utah.gov dash and then some other characters.
Okay.
But they frame these things in a way that the first line that you see looks like Utah.gov. So in these moments you're going, no, I'm certain I don't owe, in this case, a toll. We've all gotten this toll message, right? But you're sure you don't owe this money. You're sure that this is a scam. You're sure you're being phished. But then you see Utah.gov and you go, huh.
I know.
I wonder if this is actually from this government agency.
I got one when I was on the show. It looked like it was coming in from slc.gov.
Mm-hmm.
I was on the show several weeks ago, and this fine drops in. And it turned out, after I stopped panicking that I owed this fine for parking, I was like, well, maybe I did park in downtown Salt Lake, and I usually use the meter parking, and it's all on my app. But maybe I overstayed my welcome or something like that, like a week ago. But being in the show and distracted, of course, by my job, at first I thought, oh, doggone it. Do I owe a fine? And I clicked on it. I didn't click the link because, I wasn't quite the prolific consumer and investigative reporter that you were, but I did this for a number of years. And I know to check, to rethink this, really, come on. But it looks so legit for a moment there. And the fact that I was distracted, I think I can see why people click it.
Yeah, well, and with text messaging becoming a normal form of communication, right? That it's not unheard of that you would hear from a government agency via text message because used to be, well, no, the IRS only sends letters or that sort of thing. Well, no, now we're in a world where we all communicate various ways. So don't click the link. Don't, if you're not sure, don't click on it. Say, oh, well, I'm smart enough not to enter my credit card information, you might say to yourself.
Yeah,
but
so what happens if you did just click the link and then get out of it?
It depends. Maybe nothing. Maybe it just takes you to a website where they're asking for a credit card information. But there's also ways that they can download malware, specifically spyware, especially if it's on a phone or computer, and then they can sit there and log your keystrokes and figure out where you bank and figure out how to get into your email and these text messages really can become just the tip of the iceberg. Simply by even just clicking on them, you get something downloaded to your phone against your knowledge, against your will.
I would imagine most people are saying, I would never ever happen to me. I would never fall for it, but there are a lot of people who do fall for it.
Well. So this is the thing that I think is most troubling about this trend is the number of people who are reporting scams, reporting being ripped off for the last several years. Now, there's a caveat to this that it actually has gone up in Utah in the past year, but nationally speaking, the number of people reporting scams is going down, pretty significantly down.
Okay.
But the amount of money that is being stolen has gone up like 3, 4, 5 times the amount. And what that says to me and what that says to experts is that they are targeting people. This is no longer back to our grandmother's day of they canvass the country with, letters saying you've won the Publishers Clearinghouse, or they send an email out to every email address that they know on planet Earth saying, "Hey, click this link because you won the lottery or something," and they try to hope somebody's not paying attention. They are really going after people, and they're really targeting them, and they're making you think that you're dealing with somebody that you know and somebody that you trust and one of your financial institutions, and they deal in urgency. Hey, there's a problem that could have you getting your car hooked today, in the case of Debbie and her parking violation. Hey, there's a problem that could have you losing access to your bank account for a couple of days while we sort this all out. If you don't act quickly and you go, oh my goodness, how am I going to make my mortgage and my car and my school lunch payments and whatever the case may be, and so you act quickly. But again, they target you. It's no longer let's target women in a certain age group or men in Utah or Utahns in general or whatever the case may be. They target you. You specifically. They know through social media or whatever else people that you know, and they go after you in very sophisticated, smart ways.
Matt Gephardt of KSL5 Television. He's an investigative reporter at KSL5 TV. Bringing us up to speed on these text scams that so many of us get, kind of almost on like a weekly, if not daily basis.
Secondly.
801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Matt's going to stick around in about 3 or 4 minutes or so. We're going to start taking live calls because I want to hear from our listeners. Like, what's that text message that you got recently? Is it from the fake DMV? Is it from Salt Lake City? It's not a real text message, but maybe you thought it was. I think these are coming at us from all different, what we think is, Big Brother type platforms, but they're not. They're phony. So we're going to take live calls in just a minute. Matt's going to answer your questions as well. Tell us how they make these sites, they spoof these sites to look like they're government or they're nonprofit sites. What is your insight on that?
So, what they do is they basically just copy a website verbatim. So, in the case of a .gov, generally speaking, right? And so, if you're a banking institution, maybe you bank at Wells Fargo, they will. I actually many years ago went to a Wells Fargo branch with one of their public relations people, and I said, which one's the real site and which one's the fake site? And they couldn't tell. And what they do is they copy everything, including down to log in here, and they put your username here and put your password in here. And as soon as they have that and you're logged in, what they do is they redirect you to the actual Wells Fargo website. So you are none the wiser. You're not going, I've just been scammed, I better take action quickly. You get redirected to the actual Wells Fargo website in this case. And meanwhile, they've got your username and password, and they can wait until it's 2 o'clock in the morning here when you're not paying attention, log in as you, and bye-bye your money.
This just scares me.
It is scary.
I just think about
scary.
that. You wake up the next morning and your bank account's drained.
And luckily, there are people smarter than you and me who are actively doing things about this. Google just made a big announcement literally this week where on their phones, they're now, adding basically almost like hey, this is probably bogus alerts to certain text messages. They're going to have their AI program look for things within text messages.
Okay, I love this.
And then so if you have a Google Pixel, you'll start getting a message, hey, you just got this message, but it's probably garbage.
Yeah, they do that with phone calls now on my iPhone. It'll say potential,
But
spam.
then, so they do that, and that'll work for a few hours until the scammers figure out a way around that, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so there are a bunch of, for every bad guy, there's a couple of good guys who are working to do this. But the bad guys do come up with these side paths and these side roads, and that's how people get got.
Stick around, right? You're gonna stick around with me here. We're gonna take live calls in just a moment, in about 90 seconds. Matt and I want to hear from you. What's that like one text message that you thought was coming from a government agency, but as you looked at it, or even a nonprofit, you looked at it a little closer, you realized it was a phishing scheme. 801-575-TALK, 801-575-TALK. Walk us through it next.
Do you have chirping smoke detectors? What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you've ever experienced chirping smoke detectors, you already know how annoying it can be. A great first step to try and stop the chirping is to change the batteries. If the chirping continues, it's possible that your smoke detector has gone bad. As a matter of fact, a lot of people don't even realize that manufacturers recommend replacing the smoke detector altogether after 10 years. If you remove the smoke detector from the wall, on the back you should find a date of when it was made. Do a little math and you'll know how old it is. Now, Any Hour Services knows being a homeowner means you've got a list a mile long of things to do around the house, and check my electrical system probably isn't one of them. That's why we've put together this radio special for any homeowners listening. One of our licensed electricians will perform a comprehensive inspection of your electrical system that includes testing those smoke detectors and give you a full written report for only $29. But you have to mention this ad when you call. Call Any Hour Services to schedule it. 801-443-7300. 801-443-7300. Any Hour Services.
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Cars are still at a crawl on southbound I-15 at 31st Street in Ogden to 5600 South in Roy due to a sinkhole that's blocking all but one left lane. It's taking about 40 minutes for cars to travel those 3 miles. Use an alternate route into Davis County. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Go Pave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact Go Pave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Alessandra Gurr in the KSL Traffic Center.
Summer is just around the corner. Kickstart your next great adventure during Motorsportsland RV Center's huge pre-Memorial Day sale. Save big on hundreds of RVs, travel trailers, fifth wheels, toy haulers, and motorhomes, all priced to move before the holiday rush. Get camping ready with travel trailers from just $6 a day, or upgrade to a luxury RV and save thousands. Unlike other dealers, we don't sneak in hidden fees for freight, prep, or orientation. What you see is what you pay. Every RV comes with free training, so you're adventure ready the moment you leave the lot. With flexible financing, upfront pricing, and Utah's best selection, your summer adventure starts at a Motorsportsland RV Center. Hurry into Mill Creek or Spanish Fork, or visit motorsportsland.com and let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Let Motorsportsland help you get away.
Motorsportsland.com.
David Dujanovic.
Oh, I always love talking to Matt Gephardt, KSL5 Television's investigative reporter, because you know all there is to know about scams. I mean, you have been reporting on scams for such a long time, and this scam, man, I think everybody has been hit with a text message scam, and you think it's coming from some either government agency or nonprofit. The last one I got was yesterday. And it said it was from the DMV and that they were ready to come hook up my car if I didn't pay a fine.
Parking ticket, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm like, fine, take my car away. I'll take tracks.
No, you don't mean that.
No, I don't,
because it's scary.
mean it.
Because you start, these are the things that make us panic and make us not think as clearly, because you go, oh my goodness, how am I going to get my kids home from school if I don't have my car? And I need to take care of this right now.
Yeah. I think that the best way I've found next to deleting these, is if there's a real question, is give the organization a call.
Absolutely.
Or better yet, when Salt Lake City put out a warning a couple of months ago about one that was circulating that looked like it was coming from City Hall about parking fines. So all I did is I Googled Salt Lake City's website, and there it was. Yeah. In bright, bold letters, this is a fraud. Yeah. Don't click the links.
Yeah. Well, and I mean, there's some that we are so obvious, right? I have been reporting on scams. I mean, heck, I've been a journalist in this market since the late '90s, right? And but it's and I could do a scam story every newscast every day with a new Utah person who got something, didn't necessarily fall for it.
Yeah, it's horrible. Yeah.
But even with my, I think I could defend the phrase expert on this. It still gets you, right? Because a perfect example would be if I don't happen to bank with, say, Mountain America Credit Union. That's a scam text message that I get all the time. Hey, your account with Mountain America has been. Obviously, I know that's a scam. But the banking institution where I do bank, I've also gotten texts from them, and they say the same thing, and it does prompt me to do exactly what you did. I'm sure it's a scam, but then you don't click on the link. Of course, you go to the website for the actual banking institution, and you reach out to them, or you walk into the branch,
right,
and say, hey, I got this text message. It's nonsense, right?
Yeah, and my bank would be like, here's a lollipop, lady. It's a scam.
Yeah, yes, except that this is also, by the way, how they would contact you if your account had actually been jeopardized.
801-575-TALK. Matt's on standby to help me take live calls. Hi, Brig.
How you doing?
Good. What's the scam that you got texted to your phone?
Well, I always get these ones, PayPal says, that you have this outstanding balance, and I've never used PayPal in my life. The other thing is like the IRS, when you go to file your taxes, instead of getting a return, all of a sudden you'll find out that they've taken your tax return because you owed the money. And that they're patient. They'll wait until you file your yearly taxes, and then that's when you hear from them. Also, years ago, I went to get my driver's license renewed, and all of a sudden they said, well, you got a 20-year-old ticket from when you lived in Alabama, and until you clear this up, you're not getting a license. And that was right at the DMV. So then I had to, go through and fix that, and it turned out it was paid. But 20 years ago, you had to contact Alabama DMV and get paperwork sent over.
Right, and nowadays, if you're getting a text message, you might, want to click the link. Don't. Do what you did 20 years ago. Follow up with the actual agency.
Yeah, and I mean, it sounds like that last one was a legitimate, some sort of clerical error that that's part of life, I guess, is we just sometimes have to deal with these actual clerical errors. But it's tough to know. Right. If he had received a text message months earlier saying, hey, by the way, you're not going to be able to renew unless you click this link and then provide your information, you might be going, oh no, I'm not in a million years would I do that.
Hi, Bill.
Hi.
So you got a guy calling you pretending to be the sheriff, huh?
Yeah, he called, and it actually said that it was a spam alert, but I answered it anyway because I've got some other court things going on. But he says, I'm Deputy Sheriff Ryan Davis, and you missed jury duty. You need to come to the Utah County Jail and clear this up right now. And I was like, well, okay, I'll come down right now. And he said, okay, well, I'll stay on the phone with you until you get here. And I was like, oh, well, okay, I can do that. But
that sure makes it seem legitimate, right? I mean, there's no way you're going to get ripped off in the jailhouse.
Yeah, exactly.
Right, yeah.
And so I was at work at the time, so I went and I started telling my boss, look, I've got to go. I've got him on speakerphone right there, talking to my boss, and my boss says, I think that's a scam, and immediately the guy hung up.
Good.
But I was duped. I was ready to go.
Yeah. Well, in the beginning, especially, Bill, when those started circulating, a lot of people got nervous about it. And police departments started issuing warnings not to fall for that. So good that your boss stepped in.
I reported once on a very similar story, Bill, where somebody they were sure they were being scammed. And this was a college student in the Layton area, and they were sure they were being scammed. No, there's absolutely no way in a million years I'm going to give you my information. You say you're the IRS. I don't believe you. And they said, listen, I'm not going to ask you. Here's how you know you can trust me. I'm not going to ask you to give me anything. Just hop in your car and drive to our office. And, Mr. Washington is sitting there in the, everybody is named Mr. Washington in these scams, it seems like. But Mr. Washington is going to be sitting there in the office. And so the guy drove to Salt Lake and he walked into the IRS office and he sat there. And from the lobby, waiting to be greeted, they basically at one point said, give me, I can't remember what information they asked for exactly, but give me a little information just so, Mr. Washington has it so he can, come out and get it and get you. And then he put him on hold, and the guy sat there listening to hold music for like 20 minutes. And it wasn't until security got a little jumpy and going like, why is this guy holding his phone to his ear, sitting there
in
our office in this federal building, that they finally came over and said, what are you doing? And I'm waiting for this guy who's behind the wall. And they said, no, this guy doesn't work here. They have all sorts of things where it's like, they have that one answer, right? They have that one answer where it's like, no, I'm sure this is a scam. I'm sure this is a scam. And then they'd give you one bit of information or tell you what to do, one thing, and you go, oh, okay, this is real. Okay, I'm convinced this is real. And that's how they get you.
Rebecca, I've got about 30 seconds left for what text message that you got that you thought was a phishing scam.
It was from Apple, and I did fall right into it, and I called them, and I gave them everything they needed, and they took over $500 from my credit union, and I had to get a detective, and he just dealt with the last name Smith, S, because there's so many that they do A, B, C, whatever. But anyway, I finally got my money back, but it took a while, but I fell right into it.
Well, and
Apple will never call you.
I say that, and that's a great point about the quicker you act, the better your chances of getting your money back. Most people don't, but if you act, and especially if it's something like a credit card, there are some protections where if you get on it quickly enough, police report, filing disputes with your credit card, you may be able to get some money back.
Matt Gephardt, when's your next report for KSL5 TV?
We'll see you Monday on KSL5 News at 10 o'clock.
All right, awesome. Matt Gephardt, friend, colleague here at Broadcast House. Thanks so much for jumping on the air with me this morning.
Thanks, Debbie.
Great conversation. Straight ahead, it has one of the highest profile cold cases I've ever known about in all my years reporting here in Utah. Well, it is now solved. And the story just took on a whole new twist I did not see coming yesterday when the police department here in Salt Lake City made this announcement. So straight ahead, we're going to get Dave Cowley, our investigative reporter. Of course, you know him from the Cold Podcast, the award-winning Cold Podcast, and also KSL legal analyst Greg Skordas to weigh in on this and walk us through the developments. Next.
KSL offers the best daily newsletter in the state. It's the 3 things you need to know. Every weekday, we deliver quality and relevant content to your inbox. No ads, no spam, just the 3 things you need to know to be informed about the world around you. Subscribe today. Visit KSLNewsRadio.com or text the word inbox to 57500. That's inbox to 57500.
I'm back to doing what I love and more, thanks to the Good Feet store.
Does your job require you to be on your feet all day? Teachers, postal carriers, salespeople, and restaurant staff, many of us need our feet to get us through the day. Hi, this is Mike with the Good Feet store, and I'd like you to hear from Donna. She's a nurse and a real customer of the Good Feet store who wanted to share her story.
Oh, I have to tell you, I have struggled with pain in my feet. I was diagnosed with plantar fasciitis. With the 3-step program, it really fits to your lifestyle. I work in a hospital. I'm a registered nurse, so being on my feet, walking throughout the hospital during the day, I am free from any type of pain. And after working a 12-hour shift, I go home and my feet do not hurt.
Whether you're a nurse or anyone wanting to enjoy work without your feet getting in the way, come see us at the Good Feet store.
Thanks to the Good Feet store.
Schedule your free test walk at goodfeet.com.
We were living in a townhome, renting at the time. We were ready to own our own house. Once we found a realtor, a world of possibilities opened up to us. We found a house that we really wanted, but we thought at first that it might be out of our price range, that we couldn't afford it. Our realtor was able to introduce us to state programs that help first-time home buyers, such as a state grant and state help to lower the interest rate. In the end, she made it possible so that we could buy a home.
Let an experienced realtor guide you. Go to myrealtorstory.com.
Imagine this: a cool mountain breeze, a sky full of stars, and music. From iconic headliners to classical favorites that will blow you away. All live with the Utah Symphony during our Deer Valley Music Festival. Save up to 20% when you bring a group of 10 or more, or subscribe to design a series with 3 or more concerts that match your vibe. Tickets at DeerValleyMusicFestival.org.
Workdays can be unpredictable, but your workwear shouldn't be. With the Cintas Apparel Plus program, you'll have freshly laundered garments for everyone on your team delivered every week. Cintas has workwear for just about any job imaginable, with high-performance fabrics and an uncompromising fit that stretches and moves with you. Don't leave looking and feeling good to chance. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
This is the story of the one. As a safety manager at a manufacturing plant, he does everything he can to keep his coworkers safe. From finding ways to reduce risks to keeping safety supplies in stock. And for that, he relies on Grainger. Grainger offers a broad range of quality products and next-day delivery, so he can always play it safe. Call 1-800-GRAINGER, click Grainger.com, or just stop by. Grainger, for the ones who get it done.
Do you need new windows?
Look, all glass pretty much looks the same to the naked eye, but if your windows aren't triple-coated, argon-filled and sealed double-pane glass, the cold is seeping in. You need to call Advanced Window Products. They use the highest quality glass and premium vinyl to create state-of-the-art windows and frames, and for 38 years, they build those frames right here in Utah. Custom crafted for Utah's climate. The best windows you can buy at prices 30 and 40% less than what the big companies charge because they cut out the middleman. They're the factory. They even give you a lifetime warranty, and right now as we head into spring, save an extra $2,500 off 10 windows or more. Custom windows that'll give your house a fresh new look and save you money on your heating and air conditioning. Advanced Windows offers 60-month 0% financing, even buy now, pay later, and an extra $2,500 off. Call for a quote. 801-850-9100. That's 801-850-9100, or go to advancedwindows.com.
KSL FM Midvale, KSL Salt Lake City.
10 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Kelly. KSL's top story this hour is breaking news. Russia and Ukraine have agreed to swap 1,000 prisoners. This would be the biggest prisoner swap since the war began. The exact date has not yet been released to the public. Officials from both countries met today in Istanbul to negotiate, facilitated by Turkish officials and Secretary of State Marco Rubio. A full ceasefire deal was not reached. A man is in critical condition after he was hit by a train in Salt Lake City this morning.
That train was going northbound again with its horn sounding, with all of the lights crossing. So all of the warning indicators that you would normally see at a train crossing appear to have been fully activated and functioning normally.
Brent Weisberg with Salt Lake City Police Department says the man was walking across the tracks when he was hit by a Union Pacific train. We can no longer park for-sale cars on Cedar City streets. During the city council meetings, council member Tyler Melling said he's usually all for people doing what they want. But
this is a public asset. It's intended for the movement of vehicles. It's not intended for the storage of vehicles. It's not intended for the sale of vehicles.
He pointed out the streets need to be kept clear for visibility and cleaning, especially during winter. There are a couple of exceptions to the rule, though. Current owners can park cars they wish to sell in front of their own homes, and if they need to run errands, cars can be parked for short amounts of time on the street. Your money at this moment, the Dow is up 31 points, the S&P 500 has gained 11, and the S&P 500 is up 21. Coming up, dry today, but a lot more rain over the weekend. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:02.
The sources where we get our news matters.
When you listen to Utah's Morning News, we want you to feel the stories are important to you and trustworthy. This is Amanda Dixon.
And I'm Andy Farnsworth. Join us weekday mornings on KSL News Radio. It's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales will be broadcasting our show live today from Salt Lake's NPS store at 1600 Empire Road. They just opened the doors. People are streaming in. Thankfully, I was able to squirrel away some sodas for myself.
And I was 5 minutes behind you, and I got trampled.
But that's one of the great things, one of the many great things that you can buy at NPS. They've got a grocery side where you can save on your grocery bill at a perfect time to do it. They've got a retail side where you can get everything you need for summer. You can get everything. You can start getting stuff for fall school, for heaven's sake. There are prom dresses that people are like, you should get this prom dress. And I'm like, my daughter's already done with prom. But I must be giving off some kind of a vibe. So what are some of the deals we've got at NPS today?
You know, we have the movie day special. All our dresses are 50% off.
Oh, so it is thanks to me that you're going to get an amazing-looking prom dress. It's a quinceañera dress. It could be literally anything you need it to be.
And
It's
I'm telling
gorgeous.
you, we have stocked those dresses. We have some beautiful ones out there for all those occasions that we're having. You know,
There
just
are
come
still
down and
some
check it out.
proms going on. It's true.
Yes.
But this is the chance for you to get a great deal. See, NPS sells things 30 to 70% off of its retail price, and you'll actually see the original retail price on the tags, and then you'll see NPS's price, and you'll be like, dang, and then you'll see that there's an extra deal on top of that, and then you have to do some math, and this is good math because the price gets even lower by the time you're done.
Yes, and I've seen some amazing dresses there that they can come get their proms ready to go. These young ladies
Heck, buy
are
next year's
beautiful.
prom dress. These things look really nice. So, easy thing to do. You got any grocery deals today
I
to
do have
tell
some
us
grocery
about?
drills. I have.
And remember, they always do some sales for the movie show, so
I
there's
have
going to be some
Select.
extra bonus ones.
16-ounce butter for $5. Select potato chips. These potato chips are yummy. 2 for $3.
Did you say butter? Because Deb's looking for butter.
We always buy our butter here for real. We actually got some cinnamon butter and honey butter here one time. We bought lots and lots. So good on scones. Like I said, come do your grocery shopping at NPS first, and then go to your regular store. If you don't find the things that you need at NPS, then you can go to the regular grocery store, but come here and pay less. They've got 3 locations and deals at each one. You can go to Layton at 1150 North Main, Orem 475 North State, or come see us here on the movie show at 1600 South Empire Road.
Are you looking for the perfect downtown lunch spot? The Garden Restaurant is opening on June 30th in Salt Lake City. Enjoy a reimagined space and a fresh, healthy menu featuring handcrafted sandwiches, rich soups, unique salads, and their famous homemade pot pies. You'll see and taste the difference in every menu item. The Garden is perfect for lunch meetings, taking a break while out shopping, or a spring stroll downtown. Visit the reimagined space with remarkable taste. Grab and go or stay and dine in using a new online ordering option. Find entry from the ground floor of the Joseph Smith Memorial Building, open Monday through Friday, 11 to 3. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. Fresh flavors, iconic location. The Garden Restaurant is opening June 30th. Hope to see you there. Visit thegardenslc.com to learn more. thegardenslc.com.
Emergency traffic and weather together, brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Alessandra Gurr.
We've still got major delays for drivers traveling southbound I-15 starting just after 31st Street in Ogden to 5600 South in Roy, where a sinkhole has blocked all but the very left lane. It's taking cars about 40 minutes to get through that stretch there. We recommend using an alternate route through into Davis County, but be aware there are some slowdowns starting on southbound US 89 approaching I-84 due to drivers using that alternate route. The secret to healthy, thriving plant is great soil. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost is a game changer for your veggie garden, flower beds, and trees. Oakdale Farms Organic Compost at oakdale.com. Alessandra Gurr in the KSL Traffic Center.
A high today of 67, 75 tomorrow, but tomorrow night it gets windy ahead of another rainstorm that'll stick around into Monday. Right now, it's 55 degrees and cloudy. I'm Heather Kelly from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories. On KSL News Radio, Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic. Special coverage of the top local story.
It just dawned on me, and it just sent chills down my spine, that murder victim Christine Gallegos, who disappeared and was murdered in 1985, would be the exact same age as I am. She would be 58 years old. It has been 40 years that this case has gone unsolved until the announcement yesterday by the Salt Lake City Police Department that they'd solved it. And as they were making this announcement and stories, news stories were starting to drop into my news feed, I could not believe the twists and the turns that this story had taken. The police department now says there's one man responsible for that murder. He has since passed away, so there will be nobody put in handcuffs or prosecuted. And at least at this point, Christine Gallegos' mom has closure. She has now found out who killed her 18-year-old daughter. Let's start here. We're going to start with KSL5 Television's Andrew Adams and his report that aired last night on KSL5 TV after the police department made this pretty stunning announcement. And then in a moment, we're going to talk to Dave Cowley, who is the investigative reporter of the Cold podcast. He's in studio with me because he, of course, has made a living in the last couple of years investigating cold cases, and he happens to know quite a bit about this particular case. So let's start with KSL Television's Andrew Adams, who will bring us up to speed.
Police say despite multiple rounds of forensic testing on the evidence gathered here, the trail to a killer went cold until 2023, when detectives turned to forensic investigative genetic genealogy and publicly available DNA sources. Turns out there was a hit.
The likely suspect. That suspect is a man named Ricky Lee Stallworth.
Investigators say Stallworth was a stranger to Gallegos, an airman who was stationed at Hill Air Force Base. His exes told police about some concerning behaviors.
Had to leave late in the night, and he would come back until early the next morning, about 5 a.m., and he never provided an explanation of where he was or what he was doing.
Though Stallworth died in 2023, detectives say DNA from the man's son helps confirm he was the killer.
Never kept thinking about it. You never kept crying about it. It's just always here.
40 years later, Gallegos' mom was grateful for the answers.
Even though I thought they had given up, they've never given up.
And when I saw her say that, Dave, I was like, I just can't imagine what these last 40 years have been like for her. But now she knows, according to what the police department has announced, that this individual who was an airman at Hill Air Force Base is responsible for her daughter's murder. Walk us back 40 years ago when Christine Gallegos sets off to go to work and then never shows up at the bar that she was supposed to be working at. It begins with her making a decision to hitchhike to work.
So what little we know about that homicide that happened in Salt Lake, so the old Dirksfield, it was right near the ballpark, that part of town, and her body was discovered the following morning. She had been repeatedly stabbed with such brutal violence. And I guess I should just say up front, like this is going to be hard to hear.
Okay, so let me give a little ears warning. We do that. We've done that over the years here on this show. If you have a young child in the car, it may not be something that you want them to hear, turn it down. You can podcast this episode a little bit later.
And we'll be sensitive here, but she was stabbed multiple times to the point that the knife broke, and then she was shot twice in the head with either a .357 or a .38 caliber revolver. That's what police said at the time.
Evil.
And there was no clear motive. There was no explanation as to why somebody would have used such extreme violence against her. No associates that police could find that would have had a grudge or anything like that. And as you heard Christine's mom, she was vocal at the time. I've gone back and looked at the coverage that KSL did in 1985 and, even a year later in 1986 when she was begging police, investigate this case, find out who killed my daughter. And there were no answers forthcoming. And so for her, you can imagine 40 years. And as she said in that clip, she thought police gave up. She thought they'd walked away. And clearly that's not the case.
Dave Cawley is the host of the Cold podcast. He's an investigative reporter. He's looked into a number of cold cases that have gone cold in Utah. This one was announced yesterday that it has now been solved. And this is a story that I became aware of when I moved here as a journalist in 1990. It was always the question of who killed Christine Gallegos. I never thought in the span of my career that they would suddenly make this announcement yesterday.
Right.
That A, they know who did it. B, they used genealogy research to figure out and connect the dots. And C, that it's a former airman up at Hill Air Force Base. And finally, that he's deceased now. But then let me add this as well, that he would disappear, apparently, according to his wife, in the middle of the night and then come home at 5 a.m. And I'm reading Pat Reevy's story off of KSL.com. He's the crime reporter, been a long-time crime reporter in the Valley. He says something to the effect that cops say that this suspect, was actually still stalking State Street until just a couple of years ago, just a couple of years before his death.
Yeah, so they called him a State Street stalker yesterday. I can blow your mind even a little more, Deb.
Okay.
Let me put this in perspective. So if we go back to 1985, I've done deep coverage on a couple of missing women from 1985, Joyce Yost and Cherie Warren, both out of Ogden. You have Christine Gallegos murdered in Salt Lake City, no clear indication who killed her. A year later, there's a young woman named Carla Maxwell who is shot and killed at a convenience store in Layton. And then just 2 weeks after that, another young woman named Lisa Strong is shot and killed in Salt Lake City. And the Salt Lake City Police Department was looking at these and other cases, and they thought, maybe we have a serial killer on our hands. So they formed this task force in 1986 to look and see if there was one person behind all of these homicides. And what they decided was the Christine Gallegos case, the Carla Maxwell case in Layton, and the Lisa Strong case in Salt Lake City were all connected by ballistics because it was the same gun, they say, that was used in those 3 homicides. Now, there was a suspect identified, arrested, charged, convicted, and sent to prison in the Lisa Strong case. But police were never able to connect him to the 2 earlier cases that are supposedly tied with the same gun. Well, now we have a suspect identified for the Gallegos case, and it's not the person who's convicted on the Lisa Strong case.
Even though the ballistics match.
Even though the police say it's the same weapon. And then you have a homicide in the middle that is unsolved right now in Layton, the Carla Maxwell case. And so, for me, on first blush yesterday on seeing this story, it was, oh my gosh, they got it. They solved this case. That's amazing. Followed by, oh no, now what? Because can you tie this suspect to an unsolved case? Or, can you trace that gun over the course of the year between when Gallegos was killed in Salt Lake in May of 1985 and Lisa Strong was killed in May of 1986? So we still have questions that hopefully investigators are looking at to try and piece together, okay, these 3 cases that are supposedly connected by the same weapon, what happened in that year?
Well, I think the working theory that I read from police, from the Salt Lake City Police Department, is they don't think these are connected. That perhaps the gun got sold at some point, or somebody else used that same gun. Bring me up to speed on that aspect.
Sure. So, as I said, you have a suspect who's been convicted and imprisoned in the Lisa Strong case, in the 3rd case.
A separate suspect.
Separate suspect from the one we identified yesterday.
Who's deceased.
That's correct.
Right.
Yep. And so it's entirely possible that weapon changed hands, maybe multiple times over the space of this year. But for me, what was difficult to wrap my head around is what's the probability that one handgun could be tied to 3 homicides, potentially by 2 or 3 separate shooters? And that's the kind of scenario that Salt Lake City Police are providing us right now. And I think really what it's going to come down to is that homicide in the middle, the Carla Maxwell case in Layton. If this identification of Christine Gallegos' killer provides new information or leads or attention on the Carla Maxwell case, that may be pivotal in helping us understand if these events were connected or if it simply was the case of the traveling handgun.
Dave Cowley with the Cold Podcast. Stay with me if you don't mind. I'm going to bring Greg Skordas, former prosecutor for the Salt Lake County Prosecutor's Office, on the line with us right now, joining the conversation. Were you a prosecutor back in 1985 when Christine Gallegos' body was found near the old Dirks Field, Greg? Or I'm sure you're the very least familiar with this case. A lot of us are.
Yeah, very much so. It's good you have such a wonderful investigator on the line with us too. Here, Dave's one of the stars of our community. I started there in '86, and so that was still a fairly fresh case when I was at the DA's office. Of course, it took a while for us to figure out what was going on, and we did have there was a concern that there was a serial killer and who it was, and the fact that there were ballistics tied to different homicides. And now we've got another wrench in the works, which is to say we've got a suspect. I think the police feel like he was actually the killer who's deceased, and another individual somewhat tied to that homicide who's in prison. So I think the investigation is going to continue.
So you think that there's more to be done here than to answer some of these questions that we're raising right here, and I think probably in the minds of a lot of folks. When I first saw this yesterday, Greg, and reading the line that he was still driving around State Street, the suspect that they had fingered in the murder of Christine Gallegos up until just a couple of years ago, just before his death. And they named him the State Street Stalker and all. I thought, I wonder if police departments across this valley will be opening up their files to see if they have any cold cases with similar MOs.
Right, and if so, they can close those out because they may have been solved. And of course, the technology that we have today was a lot different than back then with DNA, with these ancestry groups that are compiling DNA and things like that. So cases like this will be solved, and I think it's good for the victims. I think it's good for the law enforcement community to know or to find out, or at least to feel like they've solved cases, even though they're cold cases, just because otherwise they're just left hanging. And so to the extent that it provides some finality to some of these people, the people that are working hard to investigate it and the families that are just wondering what happened, I think this could potentially be a good thing.
Greg, I wonder your thoughts on the process here, because we know Salt Lake City Police basically had this case on a shelf. It's not that anybody forgot about it, but it wasn't being actively investigated until in 2023 they took it before the Department of Public Safety at the state. There's a review group that was created thanks to some work at the legislature a number of years ago, so that they could get extra ideas. And that's where this thought of approaching it from the investigative genetic genealogy angle came from. Your thoughts on that? I mean, this is something that didn't exist, as you said, back when the crime happened in 1985.
Well, and as you know, it's always good to get a new, fresh set of eyes, even if it's every couple of years. You get somebody who can look at it anew, somebody who can look at it under the lens of the technology that we have under today. Because a lot of times, with all respect to investigators and prosecutors, you sort of look at the case you had, you get locked into your theory of the case, and it's hard to get away from that. So, yeah, I think that the legislature made sense. I mean, I think anytime you're creating groups that are going to look at these cold cases, it gives us some hope and some promise that something's going to be solved. Because, again, you just have new ideas, new people looking at it, new technology, and other things that can solve a case that has been languishing.
Greg Skordas, thanks for jumping into the conversation with us. Always appreciate your legal analysis. Greg saying that he started at the prosecutor's office here in Salt Lake County just a year after Christine Gallegos' body was found near the Old Dirks Field back in 1985. The curious thing to me, or the other aspect to me, Dave, is that Hill Air Force Base must have some sort of personnel file on this individual. Like, how long was he an airman at Hill Air Force Base? Of course, now he's deceased, so he won't be subjected to any sort of questioning, arrest, or prosecution. So I would imagine that investigators have or will be turning to Hill to at least see where they can fill in some gaps on this.
We can presume that they've already taken some of those steps. I can tell you that yesterday after word came out, I immediately did what I do, which is jump online and start searching through publicly available sources to see what I could find out about this man, Ricky Lee Stallworth. And as near as I can tell, he was in the Chicago, Illinois area in the mid-'70s. He came here sometime between, I would say, about 76 and 83. That I have, newspaper records of him owning property in the Clinton, Syracuse kind of area in 83.
Okay.
And so, he moved here. What was his life before he came to Utah?
Right.
Right? So we talk about maybe law enforcement agencies in Salt Lake City would be looking at him. Well, what
if
about,
he wasn't
what about
here
in
the
Illinois?
whole time,
right?
Yeah, not born and raised here. It sounds like he moved here.
There's just a giant vacuum of information, and because of what we know about how violent the Christine Gallegos homicide was, that they have now attributed to this man, Stallworth. If I'm an investigator for one of these law enforcement agencies, I want to know everything I can about his life outside of just this homicide, because maybe there are answers for other unsolved cases that we could find there.
Well, and you are so good at public records searches, but those only take us as journalists so far.
And if I can get on my soapbox for just a moment here, Deb, I've got to give a shout out to Candy Allred at Salt Lake City. She's the records officer there.
I know her, yes.
I've worked with her literally on this case.
You have?
On this task force. Yeah, we accessed some of those public records when we were working on Cold in 2022, so shortly before they took this to the state. She is dogged. I know she was going through these boxes of evidence herself. At the same time, we're seeing the state legislature take steps to restrict public access to these kinds of materials. And so for those of you who are listening right now, if you're wondering why it matters when the legislature says, no, we're going to get rid of the State Records Committee, it's for this. This is what I do day in and day out is access these public records, and there are people on Utah Capitol Hill who are trying to make that work harder.
Yeah, and we're so grateful for the work you do.
Oh, well, it's not about me.
I know,
All credit to Salt Lake
yeah,
on this one.
Yeah, no, and the work that, Detective Parks did, and the work that Candy does. Because now an entire community has closure, and above all, so does Christine Gallegos' mother.
The main character in every news story is a real person.
I want people who listen to Midday to listen to the show and think it is about them. They're hearing a story that touches them in some way.
The main character in every news story is you.
Whether it is their pocketbook, whether it is their child's safety, people should hear something that is more thought-provoking.
Midday with Maria Chaleos. All new noon to 3 on KSL News Radio.
Welcome to AutoZone. What are you working on today?
My car is making this noise. Sometimes it's like doot, 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 and sometimes it's like grrr.
Do you have a dash light on?
Oh, yeah.
Then we don't have to listen for clues. With the free Fix Finder service, we can read a check engine, ABS, or maintenance light to find the likely fix and even recommend a local shop if you need one.
So you don't need to hear the grrr,
Not with Fix Finder. Everything you need, nothing you don't.
Get in the zone, AutoZone.
Restrictions apply.
Get ready for Camping World's Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th. Get the highest value for your RV guaranteed during the biggest RV trade event of the year. Shop the best RV deals in America with new RVs starting as low as $92 a month. Get ready for the holiday weekend with up to 45% off grills and 25% off product installation. Plus, we'll have free hats, free propane refills, free food, and fun for the whole family. Don't miss the incredible Red, White, and New Trade Event, May 15th through the 18th at your local Camping World.
See team for full details and disclaimer.
Tim Jr. here from RGS Exteriors to tell you about our 10-year everything guarantee. Most contractors spout off having great warranties that last forever. But those warranties are always, and I do mean always, riddled with loopholes, exception, fine print, and nonsense. At RGS Exteriors, we cover everything. Parts, labor, material, everything and anything for 10 full years. There's no cost to you whatsoever. No hoops to jump through, no exceptions. Yes, the products we sell, like James Hardy Siding, our windows, gutter covers, come with a 25 to 50-year manufacturer's warranty, just like everybody else. But the truth is, the products almost never fail. It's always the labor and material which is never covered, so you're stuck paying for service calls. For peace of mind, call RGS Exteriors. You'll sleep easy for 10 full years. 801-280-3110 or visit us at rgsutah.com. That's 801-280-3110 or online rgsutah.com. Gutters, siding, windows, and all exteriors with the 10-year everything guarantee.
It's the movie show, guys. Andy Farnsworth and Steve Sales from the NPS store at 1600 Empire Road in Salt Lake City. Easy to get here if you've never been here. It's basically right off California Avenue and Redwood Road. And once you walk in the store, you're going to see immediately that you're going to get better prices on grocery and items that you buy for everything else, better than anywhere else that you shop. And so we're going to tell you about some of the deals today for the people who have been here before, or maybe if you haven't been here before, this is what's going to get you to finally just say, all right, I got to see what they're talking about.
Absolutely. You know, last time we were in here, I bought a golf net. And then my daughter saw it, and it was gone.
Yeah, your daughter's a good golfer.
She's a great golfer, and so now I need to get another one. And apparently you still have them. Is that correct?
Oh, a good golf practice net from the industrial side, Stephen.
That's right. Yeah,
okay, that's good. I got sons in golf lessons this summer, and so maybe this will be good. We can hang it in our backyard, let them get some practice. But tell us about some of the grocery deals. Like right here, you got 3. I thought they were soup, Stephen, but they're spaghetti sauces?
Spaghetti sauces.
What? And then we got spicy tomato arrabbiata. Tomato and basil and traditional marinara sauce. What are these going? These are the 18-ounce things of sauce for how much?
99 cents.
99 cents for sauce. And this is like the kind that's durable. It can sit on your shelf for a bit, even if you're not going to use it immediately.
Absolutely.
Oh, those look delicious. We're taking home some of those for sure. You also had 99 cents on salsa.
4 kinds of salsa.
4 kinds of salsa. We actually talked to our colleague from KSL TV who stopped by into getting all the different flavors of salsa. Because for 99 cents, you can't go wrong. I mean, this is what the 15-ounce jar of salsa, all the different levels of spice. Awesome deals on things like this. And you know what? Here's the great thing about NPS, Stephen, is your guys' inventory changes all the time. So what you got today, you better come get it.
That's right.
Because if you do, because as Igor always tells us, if you snooze,
You lose.
You lose. Okay, so what are some things we could lose out on today? What are some, let's see, here's some deals. Let's look. We've got some name brand cookies and crackers, 25% off. These are movie show one-day specials for all 3 stores. So if you're in Orem, you can get this deal. I see you got 25% off seasonings and spices. We mentioned the 15-ounce salsa for 99 cents. And then, let's see, the organic pasta sauce. And you said these potato chips. You got some selected organic potato chips, 2 for $3. These are good.
They're just like a rich potato chip. Just delicious.
Are we going to mention the strawberries or no?
Oh, I heard there's a pretty good deal. A secret sale on strawberries. 2 pounds? Did I hear that right?
That's right.
For $1?
99.
2 pounds for $1.99.
These are real strawberries.
Real strawberries.
Yeah.
Yes.
So
Big
come and take
plump,
it.
Big ones.
And I've got strawberries from here a lot. I'm going to be taking home some strawberries today for sure. So come into NPS, any of their 3 stores in Orem, Salt Lake, and Layton.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
10:30 at KSL News Radio. I'm Heather Kelly. KSL's top story this hour, crews are still working to fix a sinkhole that formed on southbound I-15 just after 5600 South in Roy near the Weber-Davis County line. UDOT spokesman Smit Shaw says they believe the hole formed during all the recent rain, which washed away a lot of sediment around the pipe running underneath the freeway.
All that compacted road base that's beneath the road that keeps the road stable is just kind of gone right there. So it's kind of just that top layer of asphalt that's left.
Shaw says they hope to have it fixed by 11 o'clock. If you're traveling south from Ogden, prepare for heavy backups, including on alternate routes like I-84, US 89, and on the West Davis Highway. Our top national story this hour from ABC News. Hundreds of thousands of people had a hard time getting to work in New Jersey today because of a transit union strike. James Lewis is the vice president of the Brotherhood of Locomotive Engineers and says workers just want a fair contract.
The problems with New Jersey Transit goes a lot farther than locomotive engineers.
The union says it's been 5 years since engineers were given a pay raise. Police along the Utah-Arizona border are asking for help identifying a woman after her body was found at the bottom of an 80-foot cliff near Beaver Dam community. The cliff along the river is just a mile west of I-15, and the woman was wearing a long-sleeved red T-shirt that says Southern Utah Basketball on it. Police think the body has been there for a few weeks. Your money at this moment, the Dow has gained 133 points, the S&P 500 and NASDAQ up 20 to 40 points. Coming up, enjoy the weather today because rain is on the way. KSL weather is next. KSL News Time, 10:32.
Mornings are for recharging.
And they're for starting your day right.
We volunteer to join you in the car. Get news and weather at 102.7 FM during the most important part of your day.
Andy and Amanda, each morning between 5 and 9 on KSL News Radio.
What's up, everybody? I'm Mike Wilson with Any Hour Services, and if you have a drain that's clogged or backed up, after you've tried the plungers and products, the next step usually involves some kind of drain snake or cabling equipment. You see, sometimes the blockage is far enough down the line that you need special equipment that most homeowners just don't have. That's where the Drains Department at Any Hour Services can help. A drain snake can clear most blockages and get the water flowing again, and clearing blocked drains is what our Drains Department does day in and day out. So if you're a homeowner with a drain line that's clogged or backed up and you'd like one of our drain technicians to come and snake the line for you, it's only $29. Yep, you heard that right. Any Hour Services will snake any drain line with normal access for only $29. Sinks, showers, tubs, toilets, floor drains, laundry drains, even that sewer main line that connects to the city. We'll snake any line for just $29. For help with your drain issues, call Any Hour Services at 801-443-7700. You can Google Any Hour Services. You can even schedule online at anyhourservices.com. No one helps more homeowners than Any Hour Services.
Emergency traffic and weather together brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. Here's Alessandra Gurr.
Speeds are improving slightly along southbound I-15, but we've still got pretty major traffic starting after 31st Street in Ogden that is stretching to 5600 South in Roy, where crews are working to fix a sinkhole that is blocking all but the very left lane. Officials say they are hoping to have that open within a half hour, and there are some delays both on eastbound I-84 and southbound US 89 due to people using that as an alternate route. The good Feed store, supporting you with comfort no matter what the day brings. Find the location nearest you at goodfeet.com. Alessandra Gurr in the KSL Traffic Center.
A fairly nice day today with a high of 67. It gets warmer tomorrow, but the wind will start to blow as a storm moves in the state in the evening, and we get rain on Sunday and part of Monday. Right now, it's 59 degrees and partly cloudy. I'm Heather Kelly from the KSL Common Spirit Health Studios. Listen online at kslnewsradio.com. We're Utah's news, traffic, and weather station.
Dave and Dujanovic, your morning companions for talk, analysis, and key perspectives on Utah's biggest stories on KSL News Radio. It's the KSL Give-a-thon. Be a smile maker for the kids at Primary Children's Hospital.
I absolutely love the work we here at Broadcast House at the KSLs, and also with the help, of course, of you, the support of our community, do for Primary Children's. And let's talk about how we right now can start helping the kids up there at the hospital. Let's start with Jill and Chris. They were so excited to be having another child, but they knew they were in for a high-risk pregnancy. During a regular checkup, they found out Whit has Down syndrome. Now, during the 19-week checkup, they learned he also had a condition called hydrops fetalis. And I think we're going to learn if I've actually said that right and what it's all about and what they deal with. This can often result in a stillbirth. So let's hear more about their story.
Whit is the fighter, obviously. I call him my little finger of God. He's reminded us of what's important in this world.
He's taught us unconditional love. We get the diagnosis of the Down syndrome, then they tell us that he has fetal hydrops, a serious condition that if we don't do anything, he'll pass away.
He had a 10% chance to live, and we saw the miracles from there. That's what he is. He's a miracle.
As scary as the surgery sounded and the risks involved, I just said to Chris, if it were any of our other kids, we would do anything that we needed to do to save him.
We started off with, you're going to lose your baby in 48 hours. And the day he was born, I remember thinking, okay, we made it past this step. He's here now. And now he's in the care of the best professionals. We truly felt like he was in hands of family there.
Spending so much time in Dr. Monson's office, I felt like I was the only one who existed. She always gave me a hug at the end, and I needed that. Having the fetal center readily available to us, that was huge.
In the year previous, we would have had to go to California or another level 5 NICU somewhere.
He was in there for 6 months, and it was surreal when we brought him home. It was scary, but he's a healthy little boy.
His presence is powerful. He's just love. On Christmas, I remember there was a note in there from one of the nurses that she had written to Whit, and apparently she had been going through a hard time personally, and she wrote him a note and said, someday I hope that I can thank you for what you've done for me and the strength you've provided when I held you at night. My hope is that he's able to feel as loved as the love that he makes everybody else feel.
Way to go, Whit. I'm so happy to tell you that he is now a fun and energetic year-and-a-half-year-old. And he continues to bring his family lots of joy, as you could just hear in their voices there. So Chris and Jill say Whit's a reminder of unconditional love, and he brings out the happiness. Everybody who's around him just loves Whit, and Whit loves them back. Here's how you can help. This is my call to action. Donate now by visiting kslkids.com, or here's a really easy way to help out the children. All you need to do is text the word SMILE to 57500. Again, text the word SMILE to 57500, and we'll get you connected. I also want to thank J&J Garden Center for being our Smile Maker sponsor. They've always just been so wonderful when it comes to our Give-a-thon. So the actual Give-a-thon is Wednesday, June 4th. So it's just a couple of days away, really. It'll happen from 6 o'clock in the morning until 8 o'clock at night. It's an annual event to raise funds to benefit Premier Children's Hospital. It's always been an honor to be a part of it. I know so many of you. Put down everything you're doing when you're doing it in that moment, and you call in and you donate during the Give-a-thon. But we've made it even easier these days to give now. So again, all you got to do is text the word SMILE to 57500. If you prefer to donate online, go to kslkids.com. And all day on June 4th, you can listen in. We're going to tell you some heartwarming stories from patients' families and talk about the cutting-edge innovations that are happening at the hospital. So thank you so much for all you've done over the years. Please keep giving, even $5 or $10. It makes a difference. And, of course, this is a collaboration from all my amazing colleagues at KSL5 TV, here at KSL News Radio, together with FM 100.3, The Arrow, 103.5, and 106.3. Latino 106.3 throughout the entire day.
The following preview has been rated G and is appropriate for all audiences.
Hi, guys.
Hey, Deb.
Let's spend the next 5 minutes or so chatting with you about the movie of the week, Final Destination.
Do we have to?
Bloodline. Oh, no.
No, Deb, we're here to talk about butter. We got butter here for you.
That's right. So just give us a little bit of a scoop, a preview of what you guys are going to talk about during the movie show. It sounds like Andy's not in love with Bloodlines.
I'm a well-known non-horror type movie fan.
Okay.
So this was not going to be sort of my favorite type of thing going in. So and it didn't disappoint as far as that goes, but it had some moments. I don't usually agree with the national reviewer guy that we play before Utah's morning news starts, but I felt like he and I, for once, were kind of on the same wavelength about this. Have you ever seen any of the Final Destination movies, Deb?
No.
I hadn't
You're making
either.
it sound like
It's like a human
should
mousetrap.
or shouldn't.
Yeah, you know what? You know the Rube Goldberg things? You've heard of that term, right?
Uh-huh.
So, like, this hits this, which does this and makes the balloon rise. This is like that, only if at the end a very grisly death happens.
A lot of creative killing going on here.
Yeah. So that's what the Final Destination series is known for. This one is called Bloodlines. It's the 6th in the franchise. And Steve has seen the other 5, yes?
Afraid so.
You have.
So this is the two perspectives that we have today. I have never seen one until yesterday, and Steve has now seen them all.
True. I would say that the only thing I get from these movies is that death has a code. And if you follow the code and die when you're supposed to, then he's, not going to make a big deal about it.
But if you escape?
He's going to mess with you, and he's going to get you good. So
yeah.
These are funny. I mean, they're gruesome deaths, but they're almost comical. There's some kids that were sitting in front of me giggling through the whole thing.
Look, I'm not going to lie. I laughed at some of the deaths just because they were so preposterous. Like they got, yeah. And there's feints. Like the other thing they do is they get you to where you're pretty sure these people are gonna bite the bullet, but you don't know how it's gonna happen. And so something looks like it's gonna be the way, but then it isn't. And then it's something else, but then it isn't. Or then maybe actually ends up being all those things at the same time. It really. I have to give it credit for kind of throwing me for a loop who've seen a lot of movies, but they still were able to kind of feint me a little bit. So I was like, oh, okay. Including, literally up until the final scene of the movie, they had me.
Well, in the Pantheon, this is probably one of the better ones. After the first one, and the third one was pretty good, then they kind of got weak. This one kind of comes back to that original feeling. So
in this one, Deb, a woman survives a catastrophe 50 years ago, and it takes death a long time to take out all the people.
Did we just lose
People that were
there you guys are back.
to
You're back.
This one lady and her kids, because she was supposed to be dead, so she was never supposed to have any kids.
Yeah.
So death's got to take them all out.
But in order.
Yes, he can't do it out of order for some reason.
All right. Well,
so that's Final Destination. I can't give away any more than that for
Okay.
anybody who does want to see it.
Okay.
But I will say this. It was kind of chuckle-worthy. I think fans probably, and if Steve, having seen them all, says it's better than some of the previous installments, then I think that's as good a recommendation as I can give.
I'll look forward to listening.
But I don't think you should see it, Deb. I don't think you'd like it.
Well, look, I cringed and cried at Blair Witch Project 100 years ago.
Are we even on the air?
Yeah, you're on the air. You're there. Hi, guys. Can you hear me?
Did we just have a great conversation with anybody or just
you're
ourselves?
Here. I hear you.
I don't know. I'm going to assume we're still on the air until I hear something otherwise. I haven't gotten a text that tells me we're off the air. So other things we're going to talk about on the movie show today. First of all, we've got our movie show question of the week that we're going to ask Deb and all of our listeners. Quick preview, but ever been to a movie that puts you to sleep? We'd love to know, what is that movie?
Okay.
We're also going to talk about The Weeknd's new movie.
Oh, there's Deb.
Yeah, I'm here. I have an answer to that. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Hi. You guys have been on the air the whole time. It's been wonderful to listen to you guys chit-chat back
Okay,
and forth.
we weren't sure.
So, yeah, I love your question of the week because immediately when producer Caitlin posed it to me, I knew exactly what movie put me right to sleep, and I'm going to play it.
Check it out. The very latest Spy Watch.
Okay.
Cell phone, internet access, satellite TV. That baby will do everything but tell you what time it is.
It doesn't tell time?
There was no more room for the clock.
Andy, Steve, do you know what movie that is?
I do not. You have stumped me, Deb. Congratulations.
It's Spy Kids. It's Spy Kids 2. And the funny, I think this was the one where it was in 3D. And so my kids were little. I had just gotten up from work. I was the morning show reporter for KSL 5 TV, so I was exhausted, but we wanted to go see the movie together. I took them to a matinee. We put the 3D glasses on. My kids loved the movie. They were they were so young at the time. This is just like they were all about this movie. And Mama put her head back with the 3D glasses on and fell fast asleep. It may have been a little bit about the 5 hours of sleep.
But at least you had the glasses to hide it from them.
I did. It was lovely. I really pushed to go to more 3D movies after that because I realized, you know what? I'll pay $5 to take an hour and a half long nap. I wasn't quite sure what I was going to get out of that movie anyway. Okay, guys. 30 seconds each, if you don't mind.
Deb, I'm with you. I'm with you.
Which movie put you to sleep? Can you hear me?
Well, I'm embarrassed to say it's probably Fantasia because the music is so beautiful.
Okay.
Yeah. Fantasia, I could see. For me, and I'm really kind of with you, Deb, because it takes the time of day. If it's a matinee, oh, man, because of the schedule I'm on, if I get into a dark theater at 11 a.m., it is a fight to stay awake. So those Saturday matinees with family movies that we do for screenings, I almost have to tell the kids to stab me in the side.
And there's some I'd want to fall asleep in, but I can't.
But because we have to review them, we're not allowed to. So at least you could surrender, Deb. You at least had that going for you.
I did, and it was beautiful. I remember waking up
as
that movie was ending, and I felt so refreshed. Movie show, guys, straight ahead, and the 11 o'clock to 1 o'clock hour right here on KSL News Radio. Andy and Steve, thanks for jumping on the line. I'm sure whatever technical little drama was going on out there, they'll have it fixed in just a few minutes in no time. Next, I'm back in just a moment, and I want to share some very personal news with all of you. All of you have been loyal listeners for the last 7 years of the show. And I'd like to take a few minutes and have a heart-to-heart discussion in about 2 minutes. So please stay tuned.
History had the gold rush. Then came the oil boom, then the tech boom. But right now it's the Wi-Fi boom, and the Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Streaming, booming. Gaming, booming. Video calls, booming. Even when your boss schedules a meeting that definitely should have been an email. And now you can get Xfinity Internet and mobile together in one all-in plan. It's the ultimate power couple. Wi-Fi Power Boost from Xfinity Mobile gives you faster, secure Wi-Fi speeds at home and on the go, so your Wi-Fi is booming wherever you are. Now through June 23rd, new customers can get 400 megabit Xfinity Internet with free equipment and unlimited internet data, and get one unlimited 5G mobile line included, all in one plan, all for $40 a month for 1 year. So whether you're working, watching, or panning for Wi-Fi gold, one thing's for sure, Xfinity Wi-Fi is booming. Visit Xfinity.com to learn more. Requires paperless billing and auto pay with stored bank account restrictions. Apply taxes, fees, extra. Xfinity Mobile requires Xfinity Internet. Reduced speeds after 30 gigabits of data usage. Data thresholds vary. After 1 year, rate increases to $110 a month. After 2 years, regular rates apply to all services up to $143 a month. Actual speeds vary.
The
Emergency traffic brought to you by Mountain America's Homegrown Home Loans. We still have major delays starting at about 31st Street in Ogden, stretching to 5600 South in Roy due to a sinkhole where there is only one left lane open. BUDOT says they hope to have this a little bit more open around 11 a.m. Wasatch Front businesses and property managers. Go Pave Utah provides all asphalt repairs for your parking. For patching and paving along the Wasatch Front, contact Go Pave Utah. GoPaveUtah.com. Alessandra Gurr in the KSL Traffic Center.
Are you living with dry AMD? If so, you could be on the road to geographic atrophy, or GA, a condition that leads to retinal cell death and permanent vision loss. But with Izervay, you can
slow it down and get it going slower.
Izervay slows GA progression by targeting a key source of retinal cell death, which may help preserve your vision longer. Izervay, or avacincaptad pegol, is a prescription eye injection used to treat GA. Don't take it if you have an infection or active swelling in or around your eye. Izervay can cause eye infection, retinal detachment, or increased risk of wet AMD. Izervay may temporarily increase eye pressure. Your vision may be impaired after an eye injection or exam. Don't delay. Ask your doctor about Izervay today.
Izervay gets GA going slower.
Visit Izervay.com. That's IZERVAY.com. Paid for by Astellas Pharma.
I'm Andrew Saul, Commissioner of Social Security. I'm here to warn you about telephone scammers pretending to be government employees. Some of these scammers may say threatening things like you will be arrested if you don't make payments or provide personal information. Do not fall for these tricks. These calls are not from us. Real Social Security employees will never threaten you for information or money. If you receive a call like this, hang up. Never give the caller your personal information, like your Social Security number or bank account, or send money in any form, cash, gift cards, wire transfers, or prepaid debit cards. Report the call to our law enforcement arm, the Office of the Inspector General, at oig.ssa.gov. Share this information with your friends and family.
Matthew.
Huh? Oh, sorry.
It's okay. I just need you to listen to me.
I know that a lot of times, Mom, it might not seem like I'm listening to you, but I am. I hear you. And what you say really does matter to me.
I mean, let's be honest. No kid likes rules, but I get why we have them. I hear you, and I know it's because you care.
All the talks we've had over the years, including what you've told me about not using alcohol and other drugs, they stick with me. And believe it or not, they really do make a difference, especially at times that matter most.
Hey, want a drink?
No thanks, I'm good. So thank you, Dad, for talking and preparing me for what's ahead.
Thanks, Mom, for never giving up and always being my biggest fan.
Thank you for letting me know what you expect, so I can try to meet your expectations.
Thank you for talking.
For more information about talking with your kids about underage use of alcohol and other drugs, visit underagedrinking.samhsa.gov.
Dave and Dujanovic. Dave and Dujanovic.
Well, my friends, the time has come for me to share some personal news. And so I'd like to take a few minutes and have a heart-to-heart discussion with all of you. There's a very important item that I want to talk to you about today. So here we go. I've always believed we all go through different seasons in our lives. And in the last while, I have been feeling personally the winds of change in my own life. And I have given this a tremendous amount of thought. And if you've been a longtime listener of the show, you know my mind never shuts down. So I have been cycling through this for several months, and I finally made the decision that it is time for me to make a personal move. And I have a lot of exciting changes in my own life, particularly in my family. And it's made me recognize that it is time for my next chapter. So today, we're announcing those changes. I have decided to retire at the beginning of June. And my last day at KSL will be Friday, June 6th. And after 7 incredible years we've also made the difficult decision to bring the Dave and Dujanovic show to an end. And unfortunately, that means my co-host, my longtime colleague, Dave, is no longer part of KSL. And as all of you know who are regular listeners, you know that Dave has played a very big role in my day-to-day work for all this time. And he's already missed. So I am also myself moving on to new challenges, but I will be staying right here for at least a few more weeks to bring the show to a wrap. And right now what I want to say and what we can say to you, our listeners, our KSL community, which is huge, we want to give you a huge thank you. Getting to be a part of your mornings has been an absolute privilege that we do not take lightly. And I'm sure you know that. We take this role very seriously and are so grateful for the amount of time that we have been able to share together. We've loved hearing from you on air and doing our best, to keep our finger on the pulse of Utah and what's going on across the nation. You are incredible listeners, and we could not be more grateful for these last 7 years. Now, on a personal level, I want to let you all know that as I was thinking through this next chapter in my life, I realized that all of you, by talking to you almost every day through your phone calls and your texts, you've made me think differently. And every day you've reminded me of the value of trust. Trust between you and me, and trust between you and KSL. For a really long time, you've also trusted me as a TV news reporter here in Utah, a really long time, an investigative journalist for a decade at KSL TV, and now as a radio talk show host at the incomparable KSL News Radio. It has been a magnificent experience for me, and I am so grateful for that trust. It is a bond I'll carry with me forever. I'm grateful for many other things, too. My family and I are grateful to KSL. Working for this organization for 2 decades of my news career, I've witnessed what KSL stands for firsthand. We stand for high standards. We stand for professional journalism. And it is an organization that stands with community. You are at the heart of what we do here every single day. I'm grateful to all of my colleagues. You know I give them shout-outs regularly on the air. That is because I am so grateful for the work they do here. And I stand in awe of them, not only what they've done in the past, but what they will continue to do to dig for the truth, to inform, and to uplift. I'm grateful to KSL for giving me so many fresh and exciting opportunities to grow my career, to be in your homes, in your cars. I walked through these doors so many years ago. I can hardly even remember what haircut I had at the time. I was a KSL TV morning show reporter, which was just a wonderful experience. A few years later, I was granted this extraordinary opportunity to work for KSL 5 TV as their investigative reporter. And now, for many years, with my colleagues here at KSL News Radio as a radio talk show host. It has been phenomenal. And so now I leave you with this. This is what you really need to know about all of this. As just as KSL News Radio has done for more than a century, we will continue to provide you with smart, informed, trusted voices that will continue to keep you informed, keep you up to date, keep you connected to all the important issues and discussions of the day that affect you, your lives, and that affect Utah. So we are super excited to tell you about the next chapter here at KSL, and we are thrilled to be announcing that in the coming days, you'll be getting 2 of the best Utah voices right here from 9 to noon every single weekday, who will help you navigate the layers and the facets of the news and issues in our great state. So we cannot wait to tell you more about that aspect of this, so make sure you stay tuned. And again, a big thank you to all of you. While I'm ready for retirement, just know you will be missed, and appreciated in the next chapter of my life. You truly are, our listeners, the best of the best because you are Utah.
Need to replace your Social Security card? In most states, you can request one online with a My Social Security account. A My Social Security account gives you secure access to your personal earnings history and benefit status. You can also get a proof of income letter, estimate and apply for benefits, and more. Save time. Go online. Open a My Social Security account at ssa.gov/myaccount. Social Security. Securing today and tomorrow.
Produced at U.S. taxpayer expense.
Summer is almost here. It's time to get in the best shape of your life with Soda Weight Loss.
Hey there.
You're looking good.
My name is Corey Sulian. My wife and I began our soda weight loss journey on January 20th of this year. We have seen some amazing results. I have lost 59.4 pounds. My wife lost 30.3 pounds, and we feel great.
It's time to spring into summer with Soda Weight Loss, because right now you'll get our biggest discount of the year.
Every single day, Soda Weight Loss is helping people let go of the weight without drugs, without hunger, and the weight stays off.
I love Soda Weight Loss. Thank you for helping to change our lives. I highly recommend it for anybody who wants to lose weight or get healthy.
Get started now at sodaweightloss.com. That's SOTA weightloss.com.
Soda is, say it with me, state of the art.
KSL Salt Lake City. KSL FM Midvale. KSL Salt Lake City.
It's 11 o'clock at KSL News Radio. I'm Alexandria Bonilla. KSL's top story this hour. We have a new Utah jobs report this morning, and the state added 36,000 new jobs over the past year with a 2.1% job growth.
We did see a temporary increase in initial unemployment claims in late February and early March, and that reflected some of those federal worker layoffs. But that bump was brief, and both initial and continued unemployment claims have returned to levels that we would expect to see at this time of the year.
Department of Workforce Services spokesperson Jared Mendenhall says we are seeing strong growth in the health and education sector. And we have some breaking news this hour.